All right, we've got a lot of people on. Good morning. It is, gosh, I was looking at the calendar. I think it's week 30. I think we're officially in the 30s. It's kind of like turning 30. I know, Courtney, you're about to turn 30. But I guess, I don't know, 30 is better than 40s. I don't know. Maybe 40s are better than 50s. I haven't gotten there yet, but we'll see. But for the sake of the number of weeks we have in the year, we are officially in the 30s. So we've got a lot of year left, but a lot of year that has gone by. If anyone has any gratitude they want to share, any announcements that they want to share, or anything shout outs wise, if you want to share, pop your hand up. We'll take 2 minutes for that, and then we will jump in with Miss Courtney this morning.
I'll
And I've
share
got
if no
right.
one else wants to.
Yeah, tell us,
My,
Elizabeth.
this is just my 10-year real estate anniversary this month. I will have been licensed 10 years on July 31st, which is just crazy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Elizabeth, when you originally started, did you think this was how great it was going to be, or is
Oh,
it
I,
worse
I
than you
had no
thought?
idea what was ha I was one of those people that almost like, HGTV makes this seems like pretty easy. I could do that.
Yeah, I love it.
Nothing what I was expecting.
That deserves its own episode. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Elizabeth. Really glad that, man, can you imagine a world without Miss Gassos in it, in our real estate world? That's awesome. I love it. Um, Happy anniversary. All right, well, let's go ahead and spotlight our friend here. What time is it, Courtney, over there?
It is 6:34.
Yeah, don't we love early mornings? I know I don't, but I'm so glad that you made time for us. For everyone who has never met Courtney, has never even heard of Courtney, and that's okay. There's, millions of realtors, fortunately or unfortunately. Courtney, what area are you in?
I live in Tempe, Arizona, but my team generally services Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, so if we were flying in, we'd probably fly into Phoenix, and somebody hears Phoenix, they should think of Courtney. Yes?
Yes. Yes. Honestly, if you're thinking Arizona, you should think of me.
Okay, I like the way you set that up. How long ago did you get into real estate? Kind of walk us through kind of a little bit of your journey, and then we'll just jump in from there.
So I had kind of a very interesting journey into real estate. I actually have been in the space since 2015. Um, I was one of the lucky ones, I always say, because my aunt actually started taking me to like open houses and showings with her when I was probably like 9 or 10. And she's my business partner now. So she had me starting as an admin for her in 2015. I had just graduated from high school. I was going to college, and she was like, "Hey, you need a summer job? I'm going to put you to work." And she certainly did.
What sort
Um,
of things were you doing back then?
this was before she had a team, so it was just her, but I was filing a lot of paperwork. I was going with her on, tours and things like that. When she would be previewing a listing, I would be going with her. I would be going to get her car washed. I would be going to get her coffee and, basically doing anything that I could to make her life easier. Um, and she was also very, very much in her office where she was at the time. She was with KW at that time still. And we are still with KW, which is amazing. But yeah, it was really cool to see and be introduced to people at the office at that time. It was so different than it was now. Um, and yeah, so I had a lot of admin tasks. I wasn't licensed, so I was very limited to what I could do. Um, and so I would come back. I went to school 2 hours away in Flagstaff. So I would come back every summer and would basically pick up where I left off. And it was perfect because I was a broke college kid and I needed money. And the job did pay very well. So I had more and more responsibility each summer. And then I actually had a very unique opportunity post grad. I essentially traveled as a recruitment consultant for the sorority that I was in college, which gave me a ton of skills that I use today. But it pushed back my real estate timeline because my plan was always to go into real estate. I had
Mhm.
obviously put way too much time into it for it not to be already. So I did the travel consultant thing. I lived out of my suitcase for 9 months. It was a great experience. And then COVID happened. And I let fear sink in so quick. So I went the safe route and I continued working for the sorority. And then when you work for a sorority, you're working for a nonprofit. So my hopes and dreams were not going to meet profit, growth wise there. So then I met with my aunt. We came up with the game plan, and I said it's time for me to actually get my license. Funny enough, I actually completed all of my courses while I had COVID because that was when you had to stay indoors for 2 weeks. And I was like, well, I'm not moving anywhere for 2 weeks, so I might as well just knock these out. So yeah, fast forward to 2021, I passed my tests and went in full time, and that's where I've been ever since.
I love it. I know that you built your business on Sphere, social media, and team. So, which one do you want to jump into first? Like, where do you want to go? I think.
I I always like to start with team
Okay.
because my first year, I I don't know where I would be without my team. So I am somebody I have been on the same team since I started, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but one being I'm on a team that really pushes me out of my comfort zone and challenges me. Um, I am also on a team where I was really lucky enough to have closings from it my first year. And I know that is not always the case for agents, depending on the team that you're on. Um, so also 2021 was my first year. That was when you would put a sign in the front yard and like it was basically already spoken for. So it was a very hot and heavy year to like enter as a licensed agent. Um, but I'm still around. So that means I've got some sort of grit, I feel like. But I always like to talk about team first because I do feel like it does say something about me for the fact that I am still on the team that I started on. Um, and I don't know where I would be without it. So because of what I've learned on my team, when it comes to my sphere and my social media, where I've gathered those leads, I really don't think that I would be able to capture as much business as I have from those two other areas.
Okay, so you don't see it as like three different sectors, like social media and Sphere and team. You see team as the foundation, and then you
Totally.
build these two levers, which for you is social media and for you is Sphere. Yes?
Yeah. 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 Because I mean, what my team allowed me to do was build that foundation and my reputation. I was coming off of a couple of years out of college. And so people didn't quite trust me with the biggest financial asset decision of their lives right off the bat. No matter how much they knew me and loved me, I had also just bought my first home. I bought my first home right before I got licensed. And going through that process was a huge reason of why I got licensed. And so I know we'll probably get into that and here in a little bit. But yes, I totally agree with what you just said. The team is my foundation and it has allowed me to tap into my sphere. It's also pushed me out of my comfort zone with like calling those people and interacting with them without feeling salesy or like I'm bothering them. And then social media is kind of a whole other monster. I love it. I did not always love it. So I would say I probably didn't start leveraging social media until about like 8 or 9 months into my first year. Um, and it was mainly because I was raised being very private. When I was allowed to have social media, um, I had to have a private account. And so I had an agent who was previously on our team that actually pushed me. She was like basically a full-fledged influencer. So I'm like, yeah, that's never going to be me, but like not going to yuck your yum. Great for you, not for me. And she was like, yeah, that's nice, but like this is the lever for your business, so you're going to do it. And I'm so thankful for her. We're still very, very good friends, and I thank her probably 4 times a year because every time I get a closing from social media, I'm like, I really don't think I would have done it without that push.
How many closings, if you had to guess in a calendar year, like this year, if you had to guess, how many closings from social media would you say you're getting?
Oh, probably, I would say like 7 to 10.
Okay, 710 that
Yeah.
you know. And if somebody was you from 5 years ago, that was like, that's great, Courtney. I'm glad that you and your cute followers think this works. But it's not really me. What would your like how what advice do you have for folks? How can they get started?
Honestly, I I felt the worst about myself when I started in social media because I was like, there's nothing comfortable about, first of all, listening to yourself, and second of all, recording yourself. And no matter what, I feel like the biggest thing I tell people is picture yourself scrolling. You don't judge people as much as you judge yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Like you pick a couple of listings, go in them, film 2 to 3 videos. It could be B-roll. It doesn't even have to be like voiceovers. Or I do a lot of my videos in my car, and honestly, that's where I get the most engagement. You get great lighting. It's very laid back. Don't get me wrong. I do like a good
Like a good
proper
proper.
listing video, but what a lot of people are craving right now, or what the algorithm is feeding you, is a lot of that natural organic content, and it's not over edited. It's you.
If somebody was starting today and they were going to give themselves 90 days, for example, like what should they be aiming for, do you think?
Don't put the pressure on yourself to post every day those 90 days.
Okay.
Like that is one thing I would say. Um, I I am a firm believer in your content will only get traction if it's something that you're actually pouring effort into. And so if you're just posting to post to check something off the list, that is where you're probably not going to see results from it. Your content has to serve a purpose, just like your business does. You guys show up every single day for your business for some type of purpose, and so that's also what you have to pour in to get anything out of your content. So if somebody was starting for 90 days, I would tell them to have some sort of, and you can go into Chat GPT, Claude, whatever it might be, have them find your voice and have them pour out a social media plan for you for 90 days. They can help you figure out, what's going to be most beneficial for your posting schedule. It's going to suggest posts for you. My biggest piece of advice is do not just copy and paste a caption from there. Do not just read off of a script from there. Have it create a script for you, and then have it create bullet points, and go sit in your car, go sit in your office, and do a couple of run throughs so that when it is you recording the video, it's you. You know what you're talking about in the video, on real estate, on your favorite things to do, on this, on that. You don't need AI to create it for you. It just sometimes puts the thoughts into an organized manner.
So you're using it for efficiency.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. And then if they were maybe they're you maybe like 2 years ago, let's say that they're kind of doing the thing. Like how often are you posting to post or versus stories, things like that? Like if
Yeah.
you make
So
A little while ago.
I'm usually utilizing stories every single day. Um, because it's kind of effortless. Like you don't really have to put a ton of effort into stories. I will get up and show the workout that I just did. I will show a little snapshot of a house that I just showed. Like stories are so effortless. One thing that I do like to do with stories though is I pick a day where I let my stories reset. Um, you know, you get 24 hours for that to be up. Usually on Sundays, I will take a little story break. And I have found that the algorithm feeds me to more people on Monday when I start fresh. Um, and then as far as posting goes, I would say like my personal goal probably 2 years ago was to be posting at least 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 times a week.
Got it. Got it. Um, Last thing, and we can wrap up social media. Instagram, TikTok, do you care?
I love Instagram. I don't know what it is about TikTok, but I just can't quite find my lever from it. I really don't get business from TikTok quite yet, so I'm probably not the, TikTok girl to
Perfect.
talk to. But Instagram, I absolutely love. I am dabbling into TikTok here and there. I have seen a ton of agents be super successful on it. I also will say a really good tip that I have is find 4 to 5 people that you want to emulate on social media and follow them. Use their posts as inspiration and just do not copy and paste them.
So when we were thinking about, your original goal this year was to sell 30 homes, which I think you're at number 26 already. So yeah, you're going to definitely sell 30 homes. You might even get to 50. It's a lot of volume. You'll close at least 20 million this year. Your business, yes, it's coming from social media. What are you doing with your sphere? Like, why do they care to give Courtney business instead of the other 20,000 agents in your area?
Social media, I think, has something to do with that. But something that I really wanted to pour into this year was my people. I have been lucky enough to be part of a lot of groups. Like I still have some of the same friends from college, from high school, from elementary school. I mean, without sounding cheesy, I married the guy I started dating in 8th grade. So I always say I am a loyal long-term relationship girl. And when I put my mind to something, it sticks. And so at the beginning of this year, I knew that I was craving a lot of in-person, face-to-face socializing. And so yes, while social media can put me in front of people that I don't get to see every day, there is something that people are really craving right now about just getting your time. I went to a luxury conference recently, and that was one of the biggest things that I took from it was they don't care about the gifts that you're giving them. They actually probably really don't care about that stuff. Time with you is the biggest gift that you can give somebody.
So how do you do that? How do you scale that? Because you have a child now. You obviously have a husband. You have a life, is what I'm saying. How do you make time for this, or do you?
Yeah, I kind of I put it into my lead gen time. I am not super refreshed by calls, but I still do make them. It's part of the job. And so usually 2 to 3 times a week, I am having a face-to-face conversation with at least one person. It feels a lot more productive when I can get a couple people to coffee or a couple people to um, a baseball game or things like that. Also, being a mom has offered a little bit more of a community for me. And so that's something that I'm trying to utilize my time with of like, okay, if we're going to take the girls to the splash pad, like how can I sprinkle in a little bit of a conversation about somebody's goals? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like forced conversation of, oh, what are you planning on doing in with your real estate plans over the next couple years. Like it can be so natural, and people want to know what's going on in the market. Who else are they going to ask? Somebody that's in it every single day.
So it sounds to me like you kind of have like little communities built where you have your OG friends, like the people that you knew, right? That's like a community. Then you became a mom, so now you have a mom community. And then if somebody on the call is into working out or if they're into investing or whatever they're into, you sort of build community around what you're interested in and what your life revolves around. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you would say for people, because you probably sell what, like 20 plus a year to friends, or like what do you think? Where do you think your business is for like just Sphere?
Yeah, I would say Sphere is probably a good majority percentage, and that's not how it always looked. I won't sugarcoat that. I would say the first 2 years of my business, it was me putting in work to allow my Sphere to know, hey, I didn't just get my license to get my license. I got my license after I purchased my first home because it opened my eyes up to a whirlwind of a process that I think we should know more about a lot earlier on. I just sold my high school English teacher's son a house. Like, I am maintaining these relationships. And yes, social media has been a part of that. But I know plenty of other people who I went to high school with that went out and got their real estate license. I am telling my stories of my clients, and it's hitting people. It's letting them know like, oh, she's not just posting a just sold and that's it. Like, people don't know how much that house that he bought was. They know the story behind it and anything that they can relate to. Also, she went back to my high school and was telling all of the teachers that are still there that when I was there, hey, I got in touch with Courtney again. So that is, I think, the most impactful thing about Sphere is once you get somebody, if it's a good experience, they're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about it in a room where at least two other people need to talk to an agent or know somebody that needs to talk to an agent. And there's just that personal connection of, hey, this person already worked with her. They had a great experience with her. We're going to give her a try.
Okay, so because that was going to be my next question was great. How do you like not run out of people after your first year? You sell your like two friends and then you run out. So you became a great storyteller. How?
I I've always loved telling stories. I literally was held back in first grade because I was too much of a social butterfly. No, it was kindergarten. I'm sorry. And I always say that's the secret to my success. Go to kindergarten twice. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was held back because I talked too much. But I love telling stories. I think that's something that people miss a lot of opportunity with when they are sharing. Like, how lucky are we to be part of one of the most important chapters of somebody's life? And we could be part of it multiple times. I've had a client who has turned from buying her primary to becoming an investor to upgrading her family home. Like, we have worked together in multiple chapters. So I think it's all about giving somebody a reason to come back and work with you. It's all about giving somebody a reason to go and talk about working with you. And that's where the domino effect just continues.
It's interesting because you're a people person and you like to talk, but you don't necessarily want to do your calls. Just like every other agent on this call, I see you, I know you, and it's just part of it. Question for you. Uh, you're obviously, succeeding. Congratulations on the National Association of Realtors 30 under 30. What a fun thing. And I think about this and I think you've been going hard for a few years now. What are you doing to prevent burnout? Like, what does a day in the life of Courtney look like now?
Again, back to my team. I would not have survived postpartum mentally, physically and through my business without my team. They picked up exactly where I needed them to and have continued to, throughout this first year and a half of being a mom. Um, so I will say that's a huge lever for me is relying on my team. And honestly, something that my business partner and I have done this year is we have made the decision to hire what we're calling a production partner. She's not what I was doing 5 years ago. She's more than an admin. She is literally contributing to our production. She's going to be our leverage. She was just recently licensed, so she is hungry. I'm very jealous of the position that she's in because she's going to learn a ton, but she is going to be helping us with showings. She's going to go to inspections that we can't always be to. She's going to meet vendors when we can't. So I have just learned that like that is exactly what I need in this season of my life because I know I'm not slowing down in business. I'm only getting started. But I know that I can't do it all.
So I'm curious, how often do you have childcare? And also, how do you, because you're on the younger side, which is awesome. How do you work through that mentality that I see a lot of, you got into this business to be free and to be flexible, YOLO, but here you are, building a life, building routines. I think you have like what, 4 homes. How do you do all that and still stay true to you? Like, how do you do big girl stuff and still stay true to you?
I'm a big believer in practicing what I preach. And so that's a huge foundation of my business. People know that when they come to me, I'm going to teach them everything that I know. My husband and I, we bought 4 houses in 4 years. We still own all 4 of those homes. 3 of them are rentals, and the one that I'm living in right now. But you know, when it comes to my week looks like, I have my daughter pretty much with me all day, Mondays and Fridays. We have our nanny who comes to our home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 to 4. So those hours are prime for me. Like those are my days. Those also could be my husband's travel days. So 4 o'clock is usually, and there are some days where, she doesn't mind getting some extra hours. Um, and we also we were both born and raised in Arizona, so we definitely rely on our village here for when I need additional help. But 8 to 4, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my prime business hours where I know I have to protect that time with everything. And I don't know about you guys, but Saturdays and Sundays are generally for my clients. There is obviously family time sprinkled in there, but I am still very much in a season of my business where I want my clients to know that I'm available to them over the weekends because that's probably when they're most available. Um, and so my husband knows, this is what he signed up for, and we had lots of discussions before we had our daughter in saying like, hey, I am still very much going to need a lot of your help over the weekends. And so he knew as soon as she came that golf every weekend was probably not going to be the thing. And so he pretty much knows Saturdays I'm either doing open houses or I'm showing clients. Sundays are a little bit more flexible. And we do like to, have some protected family time, but that's pretty much my week for the most part. And those Mondays and Fridays, um, I still knew that I wanted dedicated days with her because I do suffer from a lot of the mom guilt. But I can honestly say a huge part of my postpartum journey, and I don't know, I'm sure there's women on the call that can relate to this. I did struggle with a lot of postpartum anxiety and depression, and being able to find where I could tap back into work was where I felt a huge spark come back for me.
That's cool. That's cool. Jasmine asks, are you still doing open houses at this point in your career?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Really?
yeah. I love open houses.
We could have had a call on open houses, Courtney. You didn't even tell me this. Just
So
kidding.
fun fact, when I was in my first trimester when one of the production contests was going on, and I did 50 open houses in my first trimester of pregnancy. And I can honestly say I think I threw up at every single house. So yes, I am still very much doing open houses. I love them. They still continue to teach me. They're still a huge lead source for me. And honestly, again, it pours back into social media. If there's nobody coming through my open house, I am utilizing that to capture content. I'm posting that I'm there. Like people also want to see that their agent is doing the things.
I
So
love that.
yes, I love open houses.
There you go. Um, Last minute questions. You guys got 2 minutes. Okay, I've got a question from ooh, great question. If social media didn't exist, Courtney, how would you do your business?
I honestly think I would be fine. I really do like that question, and here's why. I did not start using social media until about 8 or 9 months into my first year. I also didn't start seeing particularly impactful results from it until like a year after that. Social media is more for exposure when you're starting out versus looking at it as a lead generation source. Because normally those leads are very slow burning. They might not even come to fruition. Um, but it's an opportunity for you to, you know, use it as a lever, try it out. It is not something that I solely rely on exactly for that question because I know in this world anything can happen. I mean, they got rid of TikTok for a second there, and I bet people were freaking out. But it's a marketing lever. I can totally see why people might think it's a waste of time. And honestly, it's not for everybody. It's something that has worked for me. And, you know, I know a ton of people that have success door knocking. I don't know how in Arizona, um, but that works for them. It doesn't work for me. So I
What
honestly,
if what if I picked
um,
you up? What if I picked you up and I said, guess what? You're gonna start a new real estate career in Vegas. Let's do Las Vegas, maybe Summerlin, Las Vegas, a nice little pocket in Vegas, but you can't do social media. You don't know your business partner. Maybe you're part of a place team. That would be cool. Um, how would you go about building your business? What would you be doing? I think maybe that's what Cesar wants to know.
yeah, no, I mean, I would be doing open houses. I would be doing a lot of open houses. I would
Define
also
a
be
lot.
tapping into, I would try and set up at least a 3 to 4 hour open house 5 times a week.
Okay, I just want
And
people to understand what a lot
yeah,
actually meant. Okay.
yeah. I mean that if that's going to be my lead gen, then that would be at minimum. I would probably be doing, and one of those would have to be a Saturday. So I would probably really hold myself accountable for a good year of doing an open house every single Saturday. If a holiday fell into that, maybe, probably not. But that's where I know the most people are out and about. Um, I would also probably be tapping into as many local businesses as I possibly could.
What would you do with that? What would you say? What does that mean?
So I am somebody that I know values a lot of local relationships. I've lived in Arizona my whole life. I've generally been in this area, and that is something that I know local businesses want poured into them. I am also a local business. So that's the way I see it, you know. And so I would be going in, I would be introducing myself. I would have consults there. I would set up, if it's a coffee shop, I'm going to set up and work there. I'm going to make sure that the people working there know who I am because that could also be a really, really good. lead source for me. Sometimes they allow you to leave your business cards laying around.
Got it. So business to business and open houses. And if you're doing Saturday open houses for a year straight, on top of the other 4 days you're also doing, just so everybody could hear me, what hours would you be doing Saturday? Do you care or?
I feel like I would probably I forgot step one. If I was starting in a brand new market, I first of all would find a mentor. I would figure out who is breaking barriers in that city that I want to tap into what they know about the area. And one of the first things I would ask is, what is the prime open house time for Saturday? I know me for here in the summer, it's like setting up shop at 8 a.m. You're starting by 9 and you're wrapping it up by 12. And then you might pick up again around 2 or 3 and go into the evening.
There you go. Know your market. Courtney, this is awesome. Can you pop your Instagram handle in chat since we did talk about social media? And I think I probably have 50-50 on the call. I have 50% of people who heard you say social media and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Because maybe they've started doing some of it, or maybe they do it at a high level. And then I have probably 50% of people that are like, it is a waste of time. And I want everyone to think about marketing in general, right? Social media is marketing. Um, and and there is value in that. It doesn't have to be your main lever, but at some point, as you get more successful and clients are searching you on AI or on Google, and if you are non-existent, friend, you are non-existent. There is no trust built there. And so before you go on any appointment, if you are non-existent in the world, I'd worry about you long term. Now, can you get your one or two or three deals a year or one, two, three deals a quarter? Sure. You can get those by hustle. And hustle, you heard Courtney, hustle is important. I'm not saying don't hustle. Hustle your little hiney off. And like there is a place for marketing yourself because I think it was something that Courtney said right at the end that you may have missed is you are a business. You, not your team. Your team is also your team is also a bank for you and all of those wonderful things and maybe you're therapist and a lot of things, but you are a business. And I think if I had to sum it up, I think Courtney is understanding that she's a business. She's not just selling real estate. She is a business. Courtney, love to have you back one day for part two after you've had just this monster year. Market's fine. It's not great. It's not horrible. But you're doing the thing, and it's really cool to see. And it's cool to see that you've I don't know if you've got it all together, but you've got in this snapshot of time, it's together enough that you'll make a really healthy multi six-figure income, own your real estate, have a family, and get up at 5:36 in the morning and share with us that it's possible and it's worthy. It's a worthy pursuit. And we
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Thank you guys. And I like the environment that you have here for somebody to go in the chat, Cesar. I have been on plenty of calls where I've heard somebody harping on how they did all of their business on social media, and that will never be my story. So I will always harp on doing what my business partner and aunt says, the unsexy things of real estate, I am not one of those people that you're ever going to see on Selling Sunset. I won't even watch a show like that, but I know what works in my business, and that's what I like sharing. And I am never somebody who will say that, thankfully, if social media disappeared tomorrow, I think I would be okay.
I love that. I love that. You guys have a good rest of your day. Courtney, have an awesome rest of your year. We'll see everyone next time, and we thank you. Go out and sell some real estate. Bye, guys.